Hey everybody, Cheryl here, Insignificant Middle Child. Popping on a video to say hello to everybody. It's been a while since I did my last Jason's Joy video. I hope all of you had a chance to watch it and listen to a bereaved mom tell her son's story. Couple things have happened since the last video. I haven't been feeling great myself. I think I mentioned about Epstein-Barr and the inflammation throughout my body. COVID shots, not been a friend to me. I have done a podcast with Nurses Out Loud, Nurse Michelle, who was wonderful. Brought me on her show to tell my story and my son's story and why I am so opposed to the COVID vaccines. It has not been a good time. In fact, today we were talking about acronyms. There's a lot of acronyms today. And one that everybody's probably familiar with is MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. I came out with MALA, Make Americans Live Again. I have not felt like my life has been good since this whole nightmare began and my son's life came to an end. So yeah, MALA, that's my new acronym. I actually got so sick that on the 9th of this month, I ended up in the emergency room where a migraine headache just came out of left field and hit me hard. And leading up to that, I hadn't been feeling well. I had like a salty taste in the back of my throat. Just overall fatigue, malaise, feeling dizzy. When I would stand up, sometimes my heart rate would shoot up to 150 or more, and I would feel dizzy. My blood pressure had raised and gone through the roof and is still actually high as I'm making this video today. And with that, I did not feel good at all. And so on the 9th, I had this migraine. It came out of left field, and I decided to start tracking my blood pressure. And of course, it was going up and up and up. And, when your blood pressure reaches 180 over 100 and something, there's something wrong. And so the pain became just unbearable. And it started to float down my face. It started to come down the right side of my face into my cheekbone, and my ear actually felt like it was on fire, and I felt feverish, but I didn't have a fever. So we were afraid I was having a stroke. So basically, we took a ride to the emergency room, and they took a bunch of blood tests, urine tests, typical things, and hooked me up to IV fluids and IV Tylenol drip, which thankfully did help. But all the tests were fine. All the tests came back normal. And this is what happens when you have this kind of problem and the doctors aren't able to take all of these symptoms, put them together, and diagnose me properly. I have been dealing with this since probably late 2022, early 2023. I had the blood test come back for the Epstein-Barr and the C-reactive protein in June of 2023, and then I passed out in July of 2023. And so I've had these issues for quite a while now. I had the back pain started in 2019. I just don't understand how it can continue to be undiagnosed. So needless to say, I have a follow-up appointment with my doctor coming up on next Tuesday, and I am not going to be nice this time. I can't, because there are days where I'm in so much pain that I can barely move. Yesterday was one of those days. My back was absolutely burning for no reason. There's no reason for it. I'm, it, for me, it just doesn't make any sense. Um, and I can't continue to live my life like this. I had to take a leave just to get through the rest of the day. I mean, I just don't understand. I don't understand what is happening. And you read a lot of stories. You read a lot of stories about, whoever got the COVID shots, you're lucky if you have 5 years left. How is that supposed to make us feel good? You know, I am prone to depression. I have been known to be in the darkest of days. And to hear things like that, it would be easy for me to say, okay, that's fine by me. But I don't want to be like that. And not for nothing, but as much as I want to see Jason again, because Lord knows I do, I miss him terribly. I'm wearing his shirt. um, he wouldn't want that for me. He wouldn't want that for me. And I'm trying my hardest to move on, to continue my life. And, I have to find a new job because my job of 31 years is done, is gone. And it's stressful. And if stress is the largest contributor to Epstein-Barr or any autoimmune flare-ups, then man, I'm screwed. Because I lost that job. I lost my son. I'm now having to look for something new because, I mean, we all know money doesn't last forever. And I can't do anything about this stress. So if the stress is going to flare up in me and cause all this inflammation in the body and to a point to where I think I might be having a stroke, I how do you deal with that? How do you continue with that? And I feel silly just making this video. I'd rather be talking with someone about it. But there's so few people out there right now willing to discuss these issues, willing to admit that the chemicals that were released upon us, whether it be through the virus itself or the vaccines, my belief is the vaccines did this and also did that to my son. Um, that's my opinion. I'm entitled to that. Everything that has happened has caused such pain and injuries and deaths, and nothing is being done about it. So to get someone to talk to you about it is rare, and that's why I'm very blessed and happy to have done a podcast with Nurse Michelle. It's appreciated more than she knows. But these conversations need to happen. People are still dying. Cancer rates are through the roof. Inflammation is horrible on your body. They call high blood pressure the silent killer. Well, what causes high blood pressure? In my case, it was the inflammation sparked by stress because a virus that was dormant was awakened by all these chemicals pushed into my system. My son's turbo cancer. We didn't know he had cancer. He had a tumor that was unbeknownst to us because it wasn't impacting his daily life until all the chemicals were pumped into him. This nonsense needs to come to an end because people are suffering and people are dying. And it feels like nobody cares. When I have to end my day, I'm only 53 years old, okay? And if I have to end my day putting my feet above my head like I'm having a heart attack or something, whatever, because my circulation isn't great, because my feet start to tingle, because I have pain radiating through me, something's wrong. Something's wrong. And it just doesn't make sense. My videos were called Jason's Joy because he brought me joy. And I feel like that joy is gone. What can one voice do? Not much. But millions of voices can. And we just need to continue to be loud and proud and do what we can as a collective voice to not only stop the shots, but to find solace again in our lives. To be healthy again is more than pulling dyes out of food. That should have been done years ago. We feel like we're ignored. The ones who were injured or lost loved ones throughout the pandemic feel ignored, and shame on the people who are ignoring us. The unvaxxed people, congratulations. All I ask of you is to not judge the ones who are vaccinated, because some of us didn't choose to be vaccinated. Some of us were made to keep their livelihood. In my case, it was a requirement from the New York State Department of Health. I couldn't afford to quit my job. And if I had quit my job, I wouldn't have been able to afford to be home with my son as he died. So I'm tired of that. I have unvaxxed siblings, and I am so happy that they are. They didn't have to be vaccinated. It wasn't forced upon them. And that's a great thing. But don't lump us all together. I haven't had any more vaccinations since the ones that were required at my job. I will never get another vaccination. I even had to get an MMR shot before I could take care of my son because my antibody levels were low on the titers. So I had to get another MMR shot even after I left my job. They force them on you. They make you do it. I could not be a caregiver for my son unless I got another MMR shot. This is not right. And now I'm in this body that doesn't cooperate with me. If I get up and my heart rate shoots up to 150, I feel it. And I don't want to have to feel that. I know I'm rambling on, and I appreciate anyone who is watching this. And I know that some of my opinions are unpopular, but they're my opinions. If you agree with me, it would be great to get some comments, some kind of interaction with the video. I know YouTube isn't too fond of people with my opinions, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get the word out. I'm trying to get my son's story out. I don't want to see other parents dealing with this the way that I am. And I've joined groups on Facebook. I don't comment much on there because of my opinions. um, but these groups, there are people dying. I just read a story about a 54-year-old man, a year older than me, just got diagnosed with the same cancer that my son died from. It was in a different area. It was in his thalamus, which is, the very, very center of the brain. But the same exact cancer, same exact mutation. And this person put in their post that this is usually a pediatric cancer. And that's what we dealt with when getting my son any care. We had to be done in a pediatric unit. How are these cases rising without anybody noticing that this is different, that this is problematic, that this is new? What caused it? I feel like I know what caused it, but they need to come out with what caused it. What is causing these increases in rare diseases that have been dormant all these years? I hear these other autoimmune things happening that have been dormant. How is this happening? And how can you keep ignoring the ones that are dealing with it? You know, I don't know how I'm going to get back to my old life. I was a hard worker. I was a salaried employee. I could work upwards of 50, 60 hours a week taking care of my position. I can't do that anymore. In fact, going back to work terrifies me because if I go to get up and I have a heart rate of 150 and I drop to the floor again like I did in 2023, do I keep the job? Do they fire me? I'm a wreck, guys. um, anyway, I'm not going to ramble anymore. I think I've said what I needed to say. Um, I'll I'll try and do other videos on different topics. I am still trying to get some more writing done. It's very difficult because I get so fatigued so easily that staring at the document in front of me on the computer becomes too burdensome, believe it or not. So I think that's all I'm going to say. If you did listen, I don't mind if you leave comments. Um, obviously supporting comments are always great, but if you need to even disagree with me, that's fine too. All right. Thanks, everyone, and I'll speak again soon. Bye.